Hello my friends, welcome to this new tutorial, and here we go. Let's finish that implementation of the train, evaluate, save function. We basically already implemented the part that trains the random forest model on the training set. We also implemented the part that saves it in our specified history bucket, meaning the model bucket, and now we just have to do this to evaluate it on the test set. So it's going to be super simple, because we're using the Scikit-Learn library, therefore we'll be able to use the predict method from the random forest regressor class, and then we'll just do a nice print and we'll finally return the model name. Alright, so that's the three final lines of code we have to implement now, and here we go with the first one to get the predictions of the wine ratings in the test set. Okay, so let's enter them in a new variable which we're going to call y_predicted. And then how we're going to get those predictions? Well, we're going to take first our regressor, right? Our random forest regressor model, which indeed we call regressor here, from which we're going to call this time the predict method, which takes as argument what? Well, of course, the data points in the test set, but without, of course, the target, meaning without the wine qualities. So we have that exactly in a variable that we got before 2 tutorials ago. It is, of course, xtest, right? Xtest here only contains the data points of the wine features in the test set without the targets which are contained in ytest. Alright, so let's do this. Let's enter xtest here, and there we go. We have our final predictions of the wine ratings in the test set. And now let's do this nice print. So first, in quotes, we're going to enter mean absolute error, because we're simply going to compute the mean absolute error of our predictions in the test set. We could also use the RMSE or the MSE, it's fine. But here, just to change, let's go with the mean absolute error. Then let's add some colon, then space. Then here in this pair of brackets, we're going to enter the format with 3 decimals for our mean absolute error. And how do we do this? Well, that's with a colon dot 3f, meaning the mean absolute error is going to be a float with 3 decimals. And then outside of the quotes, we add dot. Then we call the format function, which will take as argument only one thing. And what? Well, of course, it's going to be the mean absolute error variable, that computes the mean absolute error of our predictions in the test set. And how can we get it? Well, that thanks to another tool that we have, among the libraries that we imported at the beginning of the implementation, which is, of course, you might know it very well. It's the metrics module from, of course, the Scikit-Learn library. Okay, and from that metrics module, what is exactly the function that we're going to use to compute that mean absolute error of our predictions in the test set? Well, very simply, it's going to be the mean underscore absolute underscore error function. And now I'll let you press pause on the video and finish this. What do we have to input in that mean absolute error function? Well, that's of course first the target, the real actual wine quality ratings in the test set, which are of course contained in ytest. Okay, so here we're going to enter ytest first. And then what is the second argument? Well, that's of course the corresponding predictions of the wine quality ratings in that same test set. And that is given exactly by y_predicted, which we computed just before thanks to the predict method. Alright, so let's enter it here, y_predicted, and here we go, we are done with our nice print. And now finally, last step, as we said, we return the model name. And that's just for the execution results. When we run the Lambda function and the model gets retrained, well, we will see in the execution results the new version of the model with that new model name.
Now make sure to check out these videos on the right or the full course in the description to continue your learning, and I look forward to seeing you there.